The glove box, right? Why is there a glove box on a cop car? What do you think the cops keep in there? Their gun? Actually, you know what? We'll get to that. They do. They keep their gun there. That's a problem. Okay, so instead of having this wasted space, the students have redesigned it so that it's a hot or cool box so that they can keep their lunch there. Because you know where they were keeping their lunch before? On the floor by the pedals? It's stupid, right? Half the time you have a Big Mac where you're just trying to stop. That doesn't make any sense, right? But this actually allows the cops to focus on their job more, right? This is what the students eventually end up working out and designing. These are all of the points of entry that they figured out are necessary. Here's the laptop keyboard that can be stowed during a police chase. It turns out, I don't know what all of these things are, right? But it turns out all of these things are what the cops wanted, right, when they went and talked to them. Other things that are like, oh yeah, of course, how to control their sirens. The other thing that they talked to the police about was muscle memory, right? Like how quickly you can flip tools on and off, and that was one of their most important things. This is a great example of one of the big problems. When police officers get out of a car, they're wearing a belt, right? Like Batman, right? They got their nightstick, they got this. American cops have to have a huge gun and like mace and all this stuff, right? Subsequently, all of them, when they got into the cop car, they take the belt off, because they can't sit in it. The first thing they did when they had to arrest someone is they had to get out, pull out their belt, and put it on. Because you can't sit with that belt in a normal seat. So what did the students do? Cut out a hole in the seat. They don't need that. So that they can just sit down with all their gear on, and they're comfortable, and they can ride with their belt on for hours. So if there's a problem, they can get out of the car and immediately go stop someone. This is going to save police officers' lives. It's going to make things better. It's going to help everyone, right? And this is a company, I'll come back to the question. So this is a company, and this is how design is going to make that car company money, right? There's no doubt about it. They're going to sell thousands of these cop cars. It's going to save police officers' lives, and it's going to make society better. So my point is, I realize today's focus is on upcycling, right? In particular, but remember, business, innovation, social innovation can all go together. It's all in how you begin thinking about solving problems. And I guarantee you, if you approach any business and you say, you know what, I'm the creative thinker. I'm the one who can bring you social innovation, and I'm the one who can solve these problems, you become the most important person in the room. And that's the end goal for education. Good? Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. I think it's important, to bear in mind, because I'm sure we will talk a little bit more during the panel discussion of how we can combine the empathy, creativity, business needs, and design perspective, and user needs together. Now, coming back, to a more experienced entrepreneurs, Gewah actually started his company 15 years, 16 years ago. And so, as a seasoned designer, and we'll be talking more from his business perspective, his commercialization experience, and how he actually put those skills into use in China. Thank you.
We started our green business around 4 years before. We do a lot of eco-friendly and green orders. During the reform, these new houseware orders. We are also concerned about the competition of our competitors. So we never to purchase raw material from the market. We do the development of our research from some university in China. It's a very simple brush. The brush roll is made by the apple drugs. We call that the apple drugs from the juice company at Sandro. And most important, keep in mind, all the things can recycle. If one thing is table and put some cement, it is a cement table. It's a recycle. But for some of the country, they are not accept this combination. It's a great part of eco-friendly form because about the biodegradable regulation and the law. It's also a very simple shopping bag, but the fabric is 50% from the milk, the milk. Because some of the wastage of the wheel is because of the expiry or some problem of during the manufacturing. But the technology is not by us. It's available material at the market. So we do some research and make this. At the same time, we have an inquiry from America. It's a group project from the brush drive. It's made by the SISO. The SISO is a kind of plant only found at American and Mexico. So we have some thinking about this ridiculous because they send the SISO from Mexico and send to China, and then we do the production in China and then send that to America. So we do the research again and propose this point. Because of the SISO, it's come from a plant for kind of a liquid called tequila. So we do the research in China and find the similar one. It's called Dorian. So it's a kind of a very strong alcohol, but we modify the shape because nobody will pay for the room at the northern part of China because they just go out and put some glass and wrap it together with a stick. It's a room. So we do this room and approach at the same time. Later on, we have a good response of this point. This also is one of our point, but you see, it's nothing special. But behind the point, our purchase department do some research about the price setting at China of this bracket. And finally, at this area, generally is the boundary between China and Russia. Their price is very, very low. It's not a normal price. We send some people visit this city, and finally, we know the reason because the outlook is very good, and the handle part is by the plastic injection. But they have a very sharp edge to cut your hand drink. You have a full tank of water. So we do some modify of the outlook, and the wooden part is sent from other chlorides and show it in the plant oil for the waterproof. At the same moment, we also are thinking about the craftsmanship. The modern industry always forget the traditional craftsman. This is a very good example. We do it at the Hebei, China. They have a huge number of skilled handymen to make these tools. So, but there is no system to promote that skill. So, we have some project with them to do the copper handwork. Also the casting of iron is the same. It's a very special project. We have a lot of exhibition at Hong Kong and overseas, and we found that the carpet at the fairground, after a few days, the exhibition period flew away because there no plan to do the recycle. So we talked to the organizer about the Hong Kong ECE and the manufacturer of the carpet. Later on, we collect back all the carpet from the fairground and make the lamp for the coat hand. So our business.
Then the design becomes just an art piece, for appreciation. Now, so it's very important that we have this kind of perspective in mind. Now, this obviously we talk about assignment. So, and I would direct the discussion to aim at the entrepreneurship, because the Hong Kong SCC is a business plan campaign which aims to arouse and stimulate interest in social entrepreneurship. So you've got to find an angle to ask the panel, what actually particular to turn into an entrepreneur in the first place. And then at the same time, we've got across the value chain, we've got to turn idea into concept and then development and then market. So we are encountering a lot of commercialization issues, market issues, things like that. So we can the speaker can share with us some of the insights. But at the same time, and obviously the topic premises on how to use design as the center element to create social value. Now, so this is the different perspective that you can bear in mind. With the real commercial example of industry working with academia to solve some commercial commercial products more adapted to urban lifestyle and these kind of things. And then we have from the designer perspective of how they use the design concept to solve some technical issues and problems. So there are many different perspectives that we can talk about. So let's welcome the panel to join the stage. Okay, now it's better. Okay, now why don't we start off, while we are talking about, this panel discussion, sharing experience among ourselves, you can also think about, some of the questions yourself, because we are going to have, a few Q&A time from the floor for further discussion, right? Now, talking about this entrepreneurship, I would very much like, to ask the question, maybe different speakers can share their experience. Start off, from those working in the industry first, and then I will talk with Steve, from the education perspective, how we could stimulate this kind of entrepreneurship. Okay. Now, Perhaps start with Gewah. Obviously you are trained as an engineer yourself, with passion, love for product development. Okay. What makes you want to be an entrepreneur yourself this time, even though you started the business 15 years ago? You can join a large corporation. You can do something else.
We start it's a very good time. Actually, what we decided is very high price and high profit margin. And compared to my salary, it's a good job. I worked in was a factory before, and I think do the manufacturing of the product. Compared to the products, not. It's very easy for me, and I saw the price of the disciple. Actually, disciple the market 6 times to 8 times the export at that moment, not now.
So you see that as a natural thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How about yourself, Joseph?
I think it really just happened very organically. I don't think I ever thought about kind of designing bags per se, let alone use kind of taxi kind of material. But I think what drove me was the simple question of why not? Why not do it if it's kind of all in front of you and you can just go ahead and then just give it a shot and see where it goes. I think taking the first step, having the guts to I guess maybe tell your parents, hey mom, I'm making bags, and then having that mentality and seeing where every step goes. I think that's what keeps me interested and fascinated because you don't know what's coming next, but you just want to keep going at it. That's my kind of reason why I started.
Yeah, but being trained as an architect, don't you want to build something big, something grand, or telling your mom, I'm not questioning your decision, but this actually comes up something interesting because we're talking increasingly, the role of architect to the society. Yeah, the architect increasingly see things differently because by training, what you do, what you've been trained over these 5 years or 6 years, you actually get your analytical mind, the environment and technology, everything blend in. So maybe your mindset is more versatile than others.
Well, I don't know what other mindsets are, but I can say for myself is yes, maybe architects, maybe their idea, we tend to think broadly, but yes, every architect wants to build big, but I don't hold myself up just building big because sometimes you got to learn how to build small in order to build big because in essence everything's down to details, From every bag, from what I've learned from each stitch, of a bag, each little fold you make can affect the bag and how it looks and how it holds something versus, and you can just be applied to a building too. And I think that's kind of the education, maybe you can say vision that an architecture education can give because you can just kind of always go to detail, but always kind of step back out at the same time and keep doing that until you go crazy.
Right. Okay. All right. How about yourself, Wayne?
My case is similar to those civil engineers, and they have been why don't you give it a shot while they can do more for the society. Our motto is upcycle and change. The change is my whole life has been what I'm doing is make the boss happy, but what this business will make a lot of people happy. That's why I joined my friend to start this.
Right. Now, this is interesting because in Hong Kong there are many different initiatives running along, and and you probably heard of another scheme called Make a Difference. And it's also a startup, as a publicly funded, program, try to arouse the youth, young people, to have a more creative mindset in the beginning, to look at different perspectives and try different things in life. And perhaps entrepreneurship, we've got the experience that, you also have the young elements, when you, perhaps, when you're at the stage that you simply try, I want to try something, and do for yourself. But from the education perspective, is that something that you see, that when you train people, to be equipped with the right skills and knowledge as an entrepreneur, and should that start young, or is it something that is kind of like a vocational training? It can be done throughout your career. Marsha, please start.
I think definitely should start now, because but it's not late if you want to pick up any time. Because I think that there will be some habits for people already working a few years. They would have the habit of, I do this and this, and when I draw it well and then I pass to the factory and stuff. But when you see the examples like those, like what I showed in the PowerPoint, the designers actually the position change in these cases, not just working on draft on full time and then pass to the factory and then done. But they have to look at the material and they have to look at production. They have to work with the producers to see if it works or not. So the course of designer actually changed, and so it would be nice if they receive this message from the very beginning so they can have the sense.
Right, okay. Is that your share?
What I've determined from teaching many students is that actually we're in the middle of a design revolution in many ways. I found that, I'm sure you guys will agree, I actually don't have to teach the students this. They come to us asking questions like, well, how come so many things before were designed so poorly, right? Actually, they grow up with an understanding that, for an example, is like Macintosh computers and PCs, right? Everyone knows they're basically the same computer, but why did Macintosh do so well? Because of the design, right? And they've grown up with this. They've grown up with a different sensibility. So I found that while it's important to cultivate it for younger students, actually, all I have to do is cultivate it. All I have to do is teach them the way of then applying what they want to design, what they already want to do. Actually, it makes my job as an educator very easy because, and I'm pretty lazy, I don't have to inspire anyone. All I have to do is give them the tools to create their own inspirational work. So I think it's actually a different generation. It's no longer a generation of utility. It's a generation of realization that design and utility can go together to make fantastic products. You don't have to teach kids this. They do it on their own, right? And they do it when they go shopping. They know the difference between something well-designed and something poorly designed.
I see. Now, this is interesting. Now, I will just briefly cover a few points on education part because this is not our main theme, but I think it's worthy to bear in mind. Because if you talk about some cultural perspective, with the international community, that the children are brought up in an environment, perhaps their appreciation, their sense of creativity is more inbred into their own culture and life. So that's why you don't need to tickle them, it's already in there. And we know a lot of Nordic countries, Scandinavian countries, they are more advanced in terms of innovations and creativity. Now in Hong Kong, obviously, that's why the government is looking at the education curriculum system. Our students need to be made more creative in terms of activities. Even ourselves, we've been trying to run a lot of programs targeting secondary students. Try to break away from the conventional educational curriculum mindset. How to create monster, how to create something different, and then train them. Now, so the education is one thing. The second thing is what Joseph mentioned about the practicality issues. Now, the question is not whether you want to build big things or not. It's starting with the foundation sometimes. And interesting, I heard even some local top designers like Freeman Lam of Gewah, so very well-known designers in Hong Kong. And I recall him talking at one point that because his training is in calligraphy, and in his old days back in training, he literally had to use to practice it, many different font types, the size, actually feel, the different types of paper, different types of pens, and how the effect actually affect others. Okay, but nowadays, the training is totally different. Yeah, you can, sit in front of a computer and then already generate many different type forms. So he's scared, he's concerned that sometimes that a feeling, even in the designer training, is losing the originality. Yeah, because there's a lot of things is generated for you. You don't have a feel for yourself when you actually, get to write and practice in different forms. You get to appreciate, how the thickness, how the curve, how the weightings that you put on different angles and things like that. So it's different. So the same to architects, because I just came back from Denmark and Berlin on some building visits, and some of the experience of there is very remarkable. And obviously, the country is very supportive of the creative culture. And into the studio, and because the rent is not that expensive, and many of the talented designer can easily have 1,000 square foot studio, if not more. Okay, inside the studio they celebrate their design awards and everything, exhibitions, but at the same time they have their own workshops. Okay, they emphasize that it's very important for practicing designers to actually get connected in touch with the materials, use of and try different types of materials. But in Hong Kong, we have been challenge some of the design education, and I was told that it's not just in Hong Kong; it's increasingly the trend that that there are too much theory along the line, and you need to have more practical sessions, more workshop type things to stimulate the training. Okay, so perhaps the exchanges between institutions like the local institutions and SCAD and other institutions to create a platform. Now, back to the social entrepreneurships. Now, one thing that clicks to me much is whatever you do, you start off with identifying the need. Okay, identify the need and then solve it. Okay, and then you might pick up the entrepreneurs to do it yourself. But being young, graduates or maybe without much business experience, what are the skills that you consider that most lacking? Now, considering that you're now running a business, you want to make bags, you are maybe producing them in small batches, quantities, but you need to consider upcycling. You need to consider upscaling of your production scale and turning into a real business. What skill sets do you think that you require when you grow your business?
Are you asking us what skill sets we want to have stronger, or what we already have right now that we can apply?
Yeah, because let me rephrase. You put your skills or your ideas, your passion into it now. Okay, you're doing some small batch or limited edition production. But to turn it into a sustainable business, then you're talking about business model. You're talking about having a sustained supply line. Competitiveness, a lot of things, costing, pricing, this kind of thing.
Well, for me, you just learn it the hard way. As in you for how Billy and I have approached this is just really what's that, like kind of balls to the wall. You just have to kind of figure things out as you go, in the sense that yes, we've taken on this project and it is nowhere near perfect. It's nowhere near a successful business, but it's a start of a business, if I can say that. And to figure out where the supply is coming from. Every day it's always things change, and that's I think I guess the beauty of a small business or a small startup is because you try to pick everything up as you go.